The Traitor, that's what they called him, for a last-minute transfer decision that, to this day, some fans still can't forgive. But was Mick Mills really a traitor, or was he just a legend caught in the wrong moment? Let's find out. Mick Mills was everything you'd want in a footballer. The England captain who led his country at the 1982 World Cup, an Ipswich Town legend, with 741 appearances across 17 years. The man who lifted the FA Cup in 1978 and the UEFA Cup in 1981. Mills was respected, reliable, and rarely put a foot wrong. But even legends face moments that change everything. Born in Godalming, Surrey, on January 4th, 1949, Mills carved out a career that spanned over 2 decades. He wasn't flashy or controversial by nature. He was the steady presence every team needs, the captain who led by example rather than loud words. Mills built his reputation on being unshakable. At Ipswich Town, he was the rock that Bobby Robson's team was built around. From 1966 to 1982, he was there through thick and thin. His 591 league appearances for the club remain a record that still stands today. He wasn't just a player, he was the heartbeat of the team. But football has a way of testing even the most solid characters, and Mills faced tests that would shake anyone. The first crack appeared in 1974 during a match that would haunt Mills for months to come. Mills was playing in the UEFA Cup quarter-final second leg against Lokomotiv Leipzig. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Ipswich had won the first leg 1-0 at home, but the return match in East Germany was turning nasty. The aggregate score was level at 1-1, and tensions were rising with every tackle. In the 43rd minute, Mills was sent off for what was called a retaliatory foul on East German international Wolfram Loh. Mills saw it differently. He said he didn't deserve it, and that he just got a challenge slightly wrong, but the damage was done. This was Mills's only red card in his entire career, making it truly out of character. The dismissal left Ipswich fighting with 10 men for almost the entire second half. They battled bravely, but eventually lost on penalties, crashing out of Europe when they'd been so close to the semi-finals. Worse still, the suspension meant Mills missed their entire next European campaign. His stats show 0 European appearances in 1974-75. Concrete proof of how one moment can cost you everything. The following year brought different heartbreak. Mills had scored a dramatic winner against Liverpool in the FA Cup, firing it home in the 87th minute to keep Ipswich's Wembley dreams alive. But those dreams turned to nightmares in the semi-final against West Ham. Referee Clive Thomas disallowed 2 Brian Hamilton goals that Mills still insists were perfectly good goals. The defeat hurt so much that Mills couldn't even watch the FA Cup final. Instead, he went racing at Newmarket, unable to bear seeing another team lift the trophy that should have been theirs. Mills was convinced they deserved better. Their 1975 Cup run included 9 games and faced Leeds United, who he called the best club side I have ever played against. When Ipswich finally won the FA Cup in 1978, it was after just 7 games against weaker opposition. 9 of the players from 1975 were still there in 1978, driven by that shared sense of injustice. But the biggest test of Mills's character came in 1982. Despite captaining England at the World Cup, Bobby Robson told the 33-year-old that his Ipswich contract wouldn't be renewed. The club was in financial trouble and needed to cut costs. Mills was devastated. "I didn't want to go, but I was forced out of the club, which disappointed me at the time," he said. After 17 years of loyal service, after breaking appearance records, after leading them to their greatest triumphs, Mills was being shown the door. It wasn't about his ability, it was about money. The move to Southampton seemed straightforward enough, but it nearly wasn't Southampton at all. Mills had actually agreed to join Sunderland first. The deal was so advanced that Sunderland had called a press conference to announce his signing. Everything was arranged, the paperwork was ready, the announcement was scheduled. Then, on the morning of that press conference, everything changed. Laurie McMenemy from Southampton rang Mills. Something about Southampton just felt right. Mills called Sunderland manager Alan Durban to pull out of the deal. The press conference was cancelled. The damage was done. Mills insisted it wasn't about money. The terms were absolutely the same, he said. It was purely a gut feeling that Southampton was the better fit. But try telling that to Sunderland fans. From that moment on, whenever Mills played against Sunderland, he was known as the traitor. The label stuck. Mills would hear it every time he faced them. He found it unfair, pointing out again and again that money wasn't the reason. But fans don't always listen to reason when they feel betrayed. The irony is that Mills's decision proved absolutely right. He had 3 brilliant years years at Southampton. They finished second in the First Division in 1983-84, qualified for Europe twice, and reached an FA Cup semi-final. Mills even scored against Sunderland during this time, which must have made the traitor chants even louder. Mills called joining Southampton one of the best decisions of his life, but his England career was over. With Bobby Robson, his former Ipswich manager, now running the national team, there was no way back into the squad. That 1982 World Cup had been frustrating for other reasons too. Mills led England through an unbeaten campaign. They won all 3 group games and drew both second phase matches. They conceded just 1 goal in the entire tournament, yet they went home without reaching the semi-finals. The tournament format was bizarre. Instead of quarter-finals, there was a second mini-league stage where only the group winners progressed. England's 2 goalless draws against West Germany and Spain weren't enough. Mills still disagrees with that one-off format to this day, but Mills believed there was more to England's exit than just the format. The Falklands War had ended just weeks before the tournament began. Mills felt that most people hated us because of the Falklands War. We were very unpopular wherever we went. He specifically thought Spain, despite being virtually out themselves, did not want England to go through and made it so difficult. Politics had crept into sport, and England paid the price. Looking back, the traitor label seems harsh. Mills spent 17 years at Ipswich when he could have moved for bigger money elsewhere. When he was finally forced out, he made a professional decision based on what felt right, not what paid most. The Sunderland fans who called him a traitor were hurt, and that's understandable. They thought they were getting their man, only to see him slip away at the last second. But calling Mills a traitor ignores everything else about his career. This was a man who captained England, who gave nearly 2 decades to one club, who won major trophies and broke appearance records. One phone call doesn't erase all of that. If anything, Mills showed integrity by following his instincts rather than just going through the motions with a move that didn't feel right. Mills wasn't a traitor. He was a professional making difficult choices in a ruthless business. He was loyal to Ipswich until they forced him out. He was honest about his reasons for choosing Southampton, and he was successful enough at his new club to prove he made the right call. The man described as neatly dressed, quietly spoken, and thoughtful was everything modern football often isn't. He represented the game with dignity, led by example, and handled controversy with class. Mills's legacy isn't defined by one transfer saga or one red card or one tournament format. It's defined by 741 appearances for Ipswich, by captaining England, by lifting major trophies, and by conducting himself with honour throughout. If one last-minute phone call made Mick Mills a villain in some people's eyes, then his full career more than made him a hero in everyone else's. The real betrayal would be remembering him for anything other than the legend he truly was.